A pleasant good day to you and yours, and the time is approximately 8 minutes moving away from the 10 o'clock hour, and we've got with us the host for this program. And come the first Wednesday of the month, we'll be having him, and he'll be speaking on a range of different issues. I don't know what he'll be delving into today, that is up to him, and he'll now introduce himself to you and perhaps let you know what he's going to delve into today by way of discussion. Good day, kind sir.
Morning greetings. Blessed all ones and ones. My name is Agad, Ras Agad, and yes, we're here to reason. Um, Last time I was here, we went along the lines of the colonial issues, the mindset, the brain drain, and all these different things and so on that we've been suffering throughout these years in the Caribbean. But today we're gonna just start off to talk about the metropole magnet, psychological outwardness. This is where we find ourselves right now. I know last week Quint wanted to say a little bit about some of the issues that are happening right now in the world, in the Caribbean and what's not. So we could touch on some of those, definitely, because this metropole magnet is probably one of the underlying reasons why we are where we are in today's situation with those countries, those colonial imperial powers. Now, the idea that you see people constantly migrate from the Caribbean to America or to England and so on, it is pretty much this metropole magnet that I'm talking about, this psychological outwardness. Because the education system we have here was designed by the British, where we're taught that through knowledge, through culture, through success, even after the mental map didn't change, is basically this is where we hinge everything. In order to be successful, you have to go to these countries and basically build them up while your country stay and suffer. So, cues. And last week, well, not last week, the last time I was here, you mentioned something about the American situation. I guess I don't know if it was relating to Venezuela or the direct Caribbean islands, like saying it's Nevis, Jamaica, and so on.
I'm glad you broached that, and I like the way you phrase it too, the metropole magnet, the metropole magnetism that is pulling us away from our proximity and our own development within our proximity, and kind of brainwashing us into believe that the only way we can contribute is when we do it in someone else's area, and we don't realize that, as you stated, we're developing their area. But here's what is happening now is that they're kicking us out of their area. They're saying our numbers are too big, and a matter of time we are going to outnumber them, and they have concerns about that. So how do we deal with those different aspects?
Well, that's the thing. This is why we now have to pause, take a look around. Well, take a deep breath first, take a look around and see what's happening. Now, let's go back a little bit when we had COVID, when we had the lockdowns, and a lot of people were scared. We didn't know what was happening. It was something kind of new to us. And at the same time, we have COVID with us presently today, and there's no lockdown and all of that. We learn some things and what's not. But the point is that during that time, we would have seen or at least experienced the weaknesses that we have before us. One, as you had the farmers on just a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
we don't have food to keep us going for the next 3-6 months. Two, we realize that a lot of our people are out there, and making connections was, it was very difficult. People couldn't travel. So we had some hiccups, and it was really, really confusing for some. I guess that's why the vaccine program even became so successful at the same time too, because everybody was just scared.
Yeah.
Now, what I observed was that during that time, a lot of men, especially who weren't normally home, they normally by the draft board, the domino board, maybe by the rum shop and what's not. Now you're home with your wife and children and what's not. Domestic violence shot up, was
Yeah,
increased.
yeah.
A lot of men probably just couldn't handle being home. Whether it is the wife nagging or the man just saying accustomed to be there, so this is something strange for him.
And some women couldn't handle being home either. It worked
Right,
both ways because just as the men could stray, the women could also stray.
right. So coming out of that, what I realized is that people were arguing for some strange things. They want to come out to jam. Some church people want to come out to go to church. I mean, matter of fact, not to get too biblical, but at the same time, church was really back then in people's home. That's where the whole idea started with the whole Jesus Christ era. It all started with people being at home.
Yes.
Okay, so people want to come out to go to church. People want to go to jam, and we could also see a lot of weakness in the school system where even though we have the technologies, the teachers and the parents weren't ready for the technological age. Make sure that we could have some programs, and I have been advocating for even that down in my area, where we have some classes for, even single parents, or parents in general who do not know to use the technology, and we could just have them learn these things. But then by the time we open up, these things no longer seem important. We just continue like normal. So we don't care about the food, we don't care about the advancement, and all these different things. We have 3 hospitals in St. Kitts, for instance, and we see that the issue where COVID patients and non-COVID patients were sharing the same hospital. I don't know how they had them divided, but just sharing the same hospital seemed a bit risky. Now, we hearing now, about smart hospital and all that is probably good in its sense. But the fact that we have 3 hospitals already, and this is just my opinion, why not just fix all 3 up? Why not fix all 3 up to the same standard, same machinery, same equipment? Get the nursing. We have a nursing university here. Make it attractive so that we get more nurses. Make sure the nurse them stop. We could put the nurses them now to wear scrubs instead of these girly like uniforms and so on, because a lot of men right now might be interested in being nurses. So, we're not going into them directions, because if we had all 3 hospitals set up, with at the maximum level, of course, all of them outfitted with the very same MRI that was a talking point at one point.
Yes.
Each hospital have its own MRI and the different machines and what's not.
Those are good talking points, and I concur with you. But, but my question is this: is it that governments don't see the use of enhancing the places that they have? Is it that they feel the places that we have are too small? Or is it that governments just feel whatever a government did before, I have to come and undo it and start all over again? Which one is it? Because it would seem to me that it's a bit of both, right? Because I would think that knowing what we're going through right now, no one can deny that we're going through a bit of a financial downturn, okay? So that means that money is not as flourishing, as evolving, going around within the economy as it should. So you would like to think that government then thinks, okay, no matter what we perceive doing in the future, for now, let us deal with what we have and let us enhance it. Why don't they do that?
Well, remember we started talking about the metropole magnet. This is something, this might just well be a disease in the Caribbean, and our leaders are elected officials and so on. They're not immune to this. They might actually be suffering this more than anybody else. So for them, obviously, you have to just go based on the things they say and the things that you're seeing them do. I mean, outside of that, you're not inside their head, so you don't know what they're
Yes.
thinking.
Yeah.
But looking at what they do and listening to what they're saying is a good indicator to show you where they stand.
Yes.
And the fact that the idea of a smart hospital seemed to be a better talking point than
Yes.
fixing up the tree
Yes.
that we have.
Yeah.
It show where that mindset is at.
And
No?
I agree with you, but shouldn't fiscal prudence be the main thing? Before you answer, there's a caller here, but I'm gonna caller hold just a while and finish
No,
your
you could let the caller come through.
Okay,
'Cause
go ahead,
we want
caller.
this to be a discussion throughout.
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
Yes. Your guest hit on a really important point there that could really be a game changer. And I like the introduction, metropolitan magnet or
Yeah,
metapole
dipole
magnet.
yeah.
Yes, and he's right. It could really be that we are afflicted by a disease, that disease. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes, because it's in a strange way. It seems that it's permeating throughout everything that we do. Like, for instance, you just mentioned the fact that wouldn't it make more sense to enhance the hospitals that we have? Because I am sure, given the technology that we have, we can make them just as hurricane, earthquake proof, and all that, and concentrate on what goes on there, make sure we upgrade the equipment and so on. That would be much more cheaper than, I think, opting for a smart hospital. But the thing is, what we have to realize is that we are beyond that now. We're not going to change that now because this idea has been imposed on us, so to speak, that we absolutely need it. Okay? Yeah, I could say the same.
But Mr. McMahon, isn't that part of the problem where we don't seem to have things properly worked out? It doesn't seem, because look how long this has been touted. That's one. Why aren't we flexible to the point where if we want to initiate something and we find that there are financial burdens and thus constraining us, why can't we do as the host is suggesting, where we deal with what we have and upgrade them?
It's an affliction. That's the whole point. If you've gone out to the metropoles, and
Yes.
seen their systems and so on,
Yeah.
you want it. You don't look at the cost. You don't look at if there's another way of doing the same thing or doing it better.
Yes.
Right? We don't look at that. We just it's just the same as a lot of our people. As soon as they go through a metropolitan country, they're amazed at how things work, the trains, the skyscrapers, and there's a lot of people hustling and bustling and so on. And for them, it's an attraction. They don't see the value of a much quieter lifestyle. The fact that it's healthier, it's more conducive to raising families and so on. They don't look at that. And that's why it really is an affliction. I mean, we've seen the same thing with, for instance, the Basti High School.
Yeah.
We got to have. I don't call it smart. What do they call it? State of the art high school. Wouldn't it have made sense to upgrade the other high schools, okay, to an appropriate level? And if you want to go smart or go state of the art, you upgrade the college or build a new college, because one of the reasons we go overseas, go to the metropoles, is because we think that their education systems are better. Their education systems are suited to them, right? They need nuclear physicists and they need all kinds of fancy people working for them.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
And they also have the finances to put into it, because one of the things that they do is they try to get you from right out of school. You have a particular skill that they need, and they're going to finance what they need when you come into their institution and tie you in so that when you finish your studies and so forth, you're going to make sure you're part of a contract because they help finance your education. We don't have that kind of monies.
But I mean, I know that we used to have what we call bonding, where you absolutely, even if you went to study overseas, you had to come back for a period of time. But if it's made more attractive in the sense that, let's say you do exceptionally well, they try and keep you anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, they pay off your bond, and or in some cases here, you just ignore the bond. I mean, at one point, I know Development Bank, for instance, had a lot of defaulting loans. I don't know if it's still the case now. But those kinds of things happen, and that draw of the metropole is something that really, it should be paying attention to. It's really a great point that
Agard.
he made. Yes, Agard,
Yes.
Agard has made. Okay, I don't think we've looked at that enough. Fortunately,
Well,
or
he
unfortunately,
has a way of surprising me because last week he came with something again from the women's perspective, and that kind of caught me off guard. So his mind is very sharp, and he thinks
Right.
outside of the box.
Definitely
That's what
outside
we
the
need.
box.
Yeah.
that is exactly what we need. That's precisely what we need. Not this follow everybody's follow fashion kind of approach to things. And unfortunately, or unfortunate, well, we might say it's unfortunate right now. Everybody's wringing their hands. Oh my goodness, we're not going to be able to go to the U.S. or Canada or Europe anymore. Everybody's tightening up and so on. But it might be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
That's exactly why this point is. That's
Yeah.
why we're getting to show that, we need to learn from this. Just as if we didn't learn from COVID, let's learn from what's happening now.
Yeah.
Yes, and one last point. What would help, which we're not really trying hard enough to do, is guide people's taste. That same metropolitan pull of consumerism. Got to have the latest phone. Got to have the biggest car. We don't need that. Everybody knows we don't need that, but it's keeping up with the Joneses. In this case, the Joneses is the metropoles.
Yeah.
That forces that on us. And I don't think there's any effort to try and change that for people to temper their spending on these things, when in fact we don't absolutely need them. Why do we need a car that can go 200 miles per hour on a highway, travel large distances, when we live on an island?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But the metropolitan.
And
consumerism-
sometimes some of the cars that they bring, they're made for speed and they're very low, and they're not fit for the kind of roads. Like, for instance, you hit College Street gut, you know what's going to happen. You understand? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All right, interesting perspective. The other challenge, of course, would be how do you get that into the people who can, those ideas to the people who can make a difference? Will they even listen to you?
Yeah.
Because they have their own agenda, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay then.
Yeah, man,
Okay,
yeah,
so
if that's-
we're going to take a bit of a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hosford's Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hosford's.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust. To secure your investment, you need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us. TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
And we're back. The time is 10:30, and we take you right back to our host for, you have to name its voices, but is there a particular name you might want to give it?
Next time I'm back here, I will come with a name.
Okay. So go ahead into your points.
Right. Now, so we're back to this metropole magnet, this psychological outwardness that we spoke about. Now, I brought the point about COVID to show that while we were in a situation that we realized our limitations and difficulties that we have, some gaps that need filling and what's not, we noticed them, we cited them, and then when we were kind of free, we just forget that they were ever there. So now we have this situation in the Caribbean. Now we have this situation with the US and the Caribbean countries, islands. Are we now going to learn from this one going forward? Are we just going to continually repeat the same mistakes over and over? And I think it might be the latter, because I have not done any survey, but this is probably something interesting to do, is to realize that our people don't seem to have very much interest into history, into where they come from.
I will agree with you. I was kind of thinking, but we are going to keep hope alive.
Right.
But at the same time, I will agree with you, because I keep harping on a particular clip that my co-host on Island played with a particular leader who was lamenting the fact that the U.S. is imposing on him that he should get his students from going to Cuba to study, and he should, all of the doctors that they have, they should send them out. And you could hear the man practically like he almost on the verge of crying that he don't want to let go these doctors because the benefit it has given. But yet still, he's tried to, he grabs at a cop-out by saying, but look at it though, we had an arrangement with the Africans and they're coming, so all you hypocrites who had this and that to say, we have the Africans. And he's not realizing that if tomorrow they say they don't want the Africans, what are you going to do? You understand? So this is why I agree with you, because I would have thought that he would have said, he would have been, this is where our leaders, I keep saying, our leaders need to learn what is incorporated in leadership. A part of being a leader is to be able to negotiate, don't you think?
Of course, and you see that's part of the weakness of how we deal with our politics, is that there don't seem to be any strict guidelines, and we're following a system that was not designed for us, basically.
Yeah.
And instead of fixing that, we tend to look to see how can it benefit us personally.
Yeah.
So it's about being called minister of this, minister of that, prime minister, than actually fitting yourself in that position and go with the documents, guidelines, and whatever it takes for you to be in that office.
Yeah, I agree.
So it's more about personality and, greed and
But as you ask the question, at what point will they realize that this personality thing isn't working? At what point will they, to go back to that leader, I said this morning, why couldn't he have used a bit of diplomacy by saying, okay, because we know America is a big power. We know they can use their might. But our leaders have got to learn to play them just like how they play us. So why couldn't he have said, sit down with them, listen carefully, and then said at the end of the discussion, you know, I'm going to think about it. I'm going to really think about that. But in your mind, you know, you're going to just drag on.
but Quint, I hear you, but let's just play back the tapes for the past 4 years. We have seen and heard our leaders on the radio and the TV. We have heard their supporters. We have heard their, the people who are around them and advising them and what's not. You've seen their reaction to things. They become very petty at times,
Yeah.
and so on. So where in that 4 years of experience have you seen
That is
negotiators?
that is a good point. But that, and you see why that is a good point? It brings home what I'm. Here's where it's a good point. They are so good when they come to us because of what you said before, where it's not about your qualification and so forth. It's about individuals. So when they come to us, the people, they talk down to us because it's about I'm the minister, and they put it to you, right? Instead of listening to you and thinking about how we're going to deal with problems. So, but when they go outside now, they find themselves in a predicament because they can't talk down to the people now. And because they didn't learn to listen to the people where they learned tact and diplomacy and how to really implement things, now they're caught between a rock and a hard place because they're now there with the big US of A. They can't talk down to the US of A, so the best thing they feel they can do is to acquiesce.
So maybe we need to revisit how we deal with our politics. We need to, whether it is get rid of or amend or whatever it is that this Westminster system that we have here, we need to do some work on that to suit us because you know what you're saying there is so true and so important. Is that remember though it don't start where the talk down first there. Remember the campaigning and the time to get people to vote. They act like good servants. They pretend.
So it's a facade.
Right. The problem I do have with that is that it's the same people they're doing it to all the time.
Yeah.
And the same people they're getting it done to all the time.
Okay, we have a caller. Hello, caller.
Hi, good morning, Quint.
Good day, Africa.
And good morning to your esteemed guest.
Yeah, blessed King. Agad.
Oh, Agad. Your voice evaded me, man.
Oh, okay.
Agad.
Yes.
I like the fact that you are placing so much emphasis on the social fabrics of our society, the strides that we have made, even the test with the COVID, and there's going to be others going to come our way, and not to like throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. How can we maintain these social structures that we have been tested on, and that is a success story that we need not, because of all of the dangling of the carrots in front of our faces, to forget them when we will have to resort back to them and to strengthen them. But Quint, you spoke about the Cuban and the success of for the many years the Cuban medical fraternity has and the Caribbean is not the only region that has been benefited from the Cuban medical programs.
Even American citizens.
Yes, and you can hear about Italy and Spain who would have retained Cuban doctors and so forth.
Yeah.
So far afield, but the playing field is not level, because whereas they will want us to nullify the Cubans, those persons over there retain theirs. I mean, to each his own, because the U.S. is the one that is putting pressure on us. But Quint and Agard, for the fact that our present Prime Minister has graduated from Cuba, in other words, the Cuban medical fraternity institution is his alma mater. Don't you think that the Prime Minister is in a position to make a good case?
I would think so, and let's see how it plays out, because remember I often say that and I said it this morning that I played to clip with Mia Motley, and I said she has more balls than the men. So we're gonna see how much testicular fortitude he has now, because as you said, it's his alma mater. But here's what gripes me. We know what the United States is wanting to do with Cuba. And my question is, does the Caribbean region, the other Caribbean islands, do they agree with what they see America wanting to do to Cuba? Are they going to sit back and allow America to do to Cuba what they have been trying to do to Venezuela? Where are they going to go in and take out their leader too? That is what they're heading to, you know. I am saying that me, as a Caribbean leader on any Caribbean island, I would have said, well, from my perspective, I'm telling you, I'm going to sit down and discuss it with my other leaders, and we're going to come to you with a unified perspective. But I'm telling you right now, because of what the relationship we've had with Cuba, Cuba has done us no wrong, and from my perspective, I don't see where I'm going to move away. But like I said, we're going to sit down and discuss this as a forum. What do you think about that?
Well, Quinn, we heard about a body, a committee wanted to set up because some Caribbean leaders, some Caribbean states or ECA states may not have signed on to an MOU as yet. And that was one of the contention where I sat down on a Sunday in the halls and the studio of Freedom Radio. We didn't get far on that. But some Caribbean states did not sign on to that, albeit they gave a commitment that they would have set up a committee to study two things. The MOU, which some of them had signed on to, according to, at least, I can speak for our Prime Minister, who addressed the nation.
Yes.
And the CBI. I don't know where that is at right now, because it's twofold. But I am saying that...
But Africa, I'm saying it's not twofold. Those two that you put, but notice now, almost all the Caribbean leaders who have spoken out have said part of it is that they must sever ties with Cuba. So it's more than twofold.
Yes, I agree. But
and this is what I've been saying all the time. When people say, oh, well, you know, get out Maduro and peace, we're going to go along peacefully. Okay, so they take out Maduro. You see, they're making more demands. And where does it end? Mr. Agard, make an input.
Well, you see, the thing is, I mean, we could talk about this all day, but it's like my preference is we let's talk about what we're gonna do. You know, let's talk about the solution to these things, because
but that's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah, at the end of it is that what has been done has been done.
Yes.
You know, we have CARICOM, 15 members. We have our Prime Minister, who I think have assumed the chair position.
Yeah.
Right. So this is a perfect opportunity to do what you just said.
Yeah.
You know?
And I said it because of what Africa said, and because he asked the question, don't you think that our leader, knowing it is his alma mater, he would, you know?
But he was talking about it, the fact that he graduated from Cuba. Mm-hmm. But I'm going beyond that to say he now have 15 countries
other people,
to talk to.
Yes.
You know, and these 15 countries, the U.S. going to each one and have conversations. Mm-hmm. So, as you say, you know, use some diplomacy.
Yeah.
Be diplomatic. Yeah. You know, use some of that smarts.
And that's
for this, you know.
why we elected you in the position in the first place. Back to you, Africa.
Yes, very interesting, because not only, like Agard said, not only yet he benefited from the Cuban medical system, but also now he's the chairperson of the CARICOM, the wider body, the 15 members CARICOM nation.
Yeah.
Well, 14.
And and he has to enshrine himself with the experience of the wider Caribbean because he is young, albeit he holds the leadership position, and he has to seek advice. There should have been an advisory body like where it's set up. The way we will see it coming from Jamaica with former Prime Minister Peter Patterson, he is still instrumental. You would have heard his name. And there are others that our Prime Minister, our President, the President program has to enshrine himself with to get guidance as to when he approach the podium and then address the nation, the regions, he will be guided with expert, advice from the elderlies, the elder statesmen of the regions. Because we are not just...
Apart from that, Africa, and there's another caller whom we're going to try to hear from. Apart from that, Africa, Agar just made a point that solidifies what you said in terms of the alma mater of our Prime Minister being Cuba. What Agard was now saying, he has 14 other countries who know, because he has the chairmanship, he now has to impress upon them, because they're going to be thinking, oh, our chairperson, he studied in Cuba, what perspective he's going to bring. So how is he going to bear that out? How articulate is he? How convincing will he be or otherwise in terms of coming out of whatever meeting they're going to have here in short order with some kind of solution that moves us forward in a positive way? That's a big question. Hello, caller. Let's hear you.
Yes. As Agard just said, what are we going to do?
Yes.
About it, right? I remember when this thing came up. There's a Cuban specialist here who I knew personally, and I tried to feel out as to what options they have, and she said that she already have citizenship for here,
yes,
or residency, whatever, right? I'm sure it's citizenship, she says. But anyway, I'm wondering if that cannot be a way out for our leaders by granting
that's a good point.
citizenship to those Cubans who come here to help us out. Whatever the current thing is, whether it's a year or 2 years staying here. And why not just grant them automatic citizenship? In other words, they can claim to be, we can claim that they're our citizens.
Yeah,
okay.
we can.
Your citizens, yes, but our citizens.
I never thought of it from that perspective, but this is why good minds come together. And yeah, that's part of the diplomacy also.
Yes, of course. I mean, that would put them in an interesting position where, they're after Cubans, but they're also our citizens. So,
yes.
Yeah. Maybe they can try that. I mean, you can bet your life. They'd probably find some work around that, but at least it helps with the stalling process, and at least it doesn't. What I like about that idea is that, as it is right now, it seems that it's throwing Cubans under the bus.
Yes, it
because
is.
the United
Yes.
States says so.
Yes.
This would at least show that we're appreciative of what they're doing, and giving them an option of staying if they wish. And
not only throwing them under the bus, it's throwing them under the bus without any remorse whatsoever. It's just, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, they should try something like that. I mean, it might well work, rather than wringing our hands. Yeah, come up with practical things that, we can explore and execute.
Yeah. I'm going to take a commercial break, but Africa, I'm going to allow you to make your latter point before we take that break.
Yes, I think that's a tactful move, Mr. McMahon. That's really, in high diplomacy.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. McMahon, I think he has some kind of background in diplomacy and tact.
Yes,
you know?
well, yeah, that's that is so much more palatable because you have to play at the highest level.
That's what I'm
you know,
saying.
because those guys. Hello.
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, these guys are playing at their highest level. So why not?
Yeah.
You know, because the Cuban doctors are the Cuban medical practitioners. They are an asset to us.
Yes.
Yeah, and so if that's the only resort, that's diplomacy at its highest level, Mr. McMahon.
That's what it
and
is.
I hope that the planners are listening and taking notes, and you know would want to implement something like that.
Yes.
To get around. All right, thanks for listening.
Okay.
Yeah, man, bless.
Yeah, we're going to take that bit of a commercial break and we'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9 Win FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
What are you doing? She said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a rude boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active living we life. So when we drink, drinking. Rude boy. So when we drink, drinking. Rude boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are we building up our vibes. So when we drink, drinking. Rude boy. So when we drink, drinking. Rude boy. Why?
And we're back with you. The time is approximately 5 minutes moving up to, 9 minutes moving up to the 11 o'clock hour. And so far it has been a very, very enlightening discussion. I must say, Agard, when you come and you bring these discussions, within myself, I kind of smile, you know, because I think about the fact that we are friends. We've known each other from way back. And the reason I smile is I think, hey, so Quint is not alone now, you know what I'm saying? He has another brain who thinks in a way that people will call unorthodox, you know? We think out of the box. And I must say that I'm really impressed, you know?
Yeah, well, you see, you will have some of that in all societies. You have some people who just follow the trend.
Yeah.
And then you have some people who are going to decide to come out the box. I
Yeah.
mean, religion and educate and the way the education system is designed, plus the way the religion is designed, is basically to produce people who just go with it, go with whatever the flow is.
Yeah, it
you
is.
know?
Yeah.
And when you try to step out of that box, then you get called weird,
Yeah.
a startup. And,
You get
and
called
different
demonic. I was
Yeah.
called demonic this morning.
Okay, so you get all kind of titles, you know. Not nice ones. But
You understand?
But the thing is, though, and by the way, I must say the brethren who was there, McMahon, I think you all called him.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea, you know, and but definitely something need to be done.
Something need to
you
be
know?
done.
And the reason I brought the Metropole magnet is because that need to stop.
Yes.
And that's a place to begin. That
Yes.
need to stop.
Yes.
If we have not learned anything from COVID, we look back in the history to see what has been done to us by these colonial imperial
Yeah,
powers.
yeah,
And if that can be motivating, I don't know what else can.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's check for instance. I'll put two things on the table that can be a little off topic. The the Christian community is a very large community in the Caribbean. Very large community in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in the Christian text, there's talk about like great tribulation occurring on the earth, and most of the readers don't seem to understand that great tribulation, looking for a great tribulation is one thing, but consider the greatest tribulation that man has ever seen, which was the so-called Atlantic slave trade.
Yes.
That was the greatest tribulation that that mankind has ever gone through.
Yes.
Right? There has been nothing equal to that. Yet we don't pay attention to that. We don't want to talk about it.
Yes.
We don't even have a debt to honor to look at that, to see where our ancestors them were and how they fight and die for us and different things.
But don't you think that is because, as you spoke about the metropole magnet, don't you believe it is because we feel such a big, strong tug towards them that we feel, because as you stated before, they have indoctrinated us to just follow, and our leaders now feel, because of that tug, to prove to them that they will follow, they must discard their history and their roots. And
Yeah, but the funny thing is, they're thinking that all by themselves because no one is telling them to discard the history. You understand? So they are willingly giving up their
that's
history
what I'm saying.
to try to be something else.
That is why this morning I said a lot of them, they're sending a message even before you come to them. They're saying we're ready to bow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you find that because of that, now I try not to get into the history talk too much, but without it, you're navigating into the future going to be problematic.
I'd get into the history talk. That's my strong point. And speaking of which, I played this clip this morning, and it ties right into what you were speaking about, the Atlantic slave trade. This interviewer was asking, Caucasian lady was asking asked Mia Motley a question. Listen to the question she asked, and listen to Mia Motley's representation.
Leaders like yourself also carry a responsibility. Why are vulnerable countries still so debt-stricken? Why is there still corruption? What is your response to that?
You really want me to answer you?
I do.
Okay. Why is it that every time we talk about countries from the South, the first allegation is corruption? Last time I checked, in the USA and the UK and Europe, they're riddled with corruption, but nobody says that they're not capable of achieving their objectives because of corruption. Why is it that we're not talking about the fact that these countries became independent, having allowed those countries that colonized them to extract significant portions of their wealth, such that we had no proper housing, no proper education, no proper healthcare systems, no proper legal systems, no proper go across the whole stream, and certainly nothing to do with building social capital like community development and cultural enterprises. And what has happened is therefore that we have spent the time since independence trying to give our people what the global north has taken for granted and has supported by the extrication of centuries of wealth to give their people out of our blood, sweat and tears. Now, when our blood, sweat and tears finances the Industrial Revolution, and the Industrial Revolution then causes the climate crisis, and then I have to pay for the consequences of the climate crisis because of the Industrial Revolution financed by our blood, sweat and tears, then I think they have no moral authority to tell me anything about the financing of the climate or about why we don't have enough.
Is it anger over this that fuels your energy?
Anger? Absolutely not. Unfairness, lack of justice. They're not angry. I'm just disappointed that humankind still wants to believe that there's one world for a set of people and another world for another set.
Yeah, I couldn't have put it better myself.
I've heard that interview before. I mean, one of the thing that we don't normally seem to pay attention to is that we have the descendants of who were
Our oppressors. Yeah.
right, and then we have our ancestors. We are the descendants of our ancestors.
Yes.
So we meet again.
Yeah.
And sometimes this is how they meet.
Yeah.
The interviewer and the interviewee.
Yeah.
And listen to the conversation.
And listen to the attitude. Listen to the
And
attitude.
listen to the attitude. And
You
all of that.
understand? Yeah.
So So you know, I mean, tourism is a big thing here, and not to knock it because to knock that there is to knock a lot of food
Yes,
out of people hand.
most definitely.
But it's the same. Is a similar situation.
Yeah.
You know, taking around. Well, it's not all the time. It's Caucasian people, but you're now taking around the descendants of the oppressors.
Yes.
And you, who is a descendant of the oppressed, taking them around to look at stuff, you know, like go
And in a lot of instances, pacifying the history too.
right.
because I heard a particular individual, Socrates, say he's one who takes them around, and he said there was at one point a plaque up at Brimson Hill that said that read to the effect that slavery, the slave masters weren't so bad, and the slaves were treated nicely, and so you see how we pacify the story now.
But that's the situation. So you know, if we jump right back to where I said this metropole magnet situation need to stop, and we look at the idea, because the idea is that we are not good enough.
Yes.
The idea that out there is better.
Yeah.
And if we can't get out there, if we can't get to out there in terms of migrating or visiting or whatever the case be, when out there come here is the same behavior.
Yeah.
We bow. Maybe not physically, but we bow in our attitude.
We do.
You know?
We do.
And so
But here's another aspect to that too. While we're being tugged by their magnet, when they come and we take them around, they're saying and they're thinking, wow, this is beautiful. So next thing you know, 2 years, 5 years down the line, they come back and they get a home here and their numbers are billing. So doesn't that kind of strengthen the point that what we're yearning for out there, they're looking at what we have and saying, these people are taking for granted good things.
Look, Quinn, the thing is, when you look at the Caribbean region, and let me just stick more to CARICOM in a sense, seeing that we now have our Prime Minister at the helm.
Yes.
Now, the leader for Trinidad and Tobago
Yes.
have expressed some negative energy towards CARICOM.
Yes.
And while some might disagree with her, as a leader, this is what she thinks. This is her expression.
Yes, it's true.
So we can't, not because we disagree with something, we should just think that one is just wrong. And, you know, sometimes you have to listen and understand.
Well, I think she's wrong.
Okay.
I will listen, mind you, but
I think the same way. I think the same way. But I'm saying, though, that we have
I hear you, though. We still have to listen and let her articulate why she feels the way she feels.
Right. But Trinidad and Tobago is not a small island like St. Kitts.
Yes.
Trinidad may just well have gas and oil that we don't have, and other maybe natural resources that we don't have. You look at places like Barbados, who may have some gas or oil, same way.
Yeah. Guyana,
you have Guyana.
Yeah.
You have Jamaica that seem to produce a lot of stuff, and so on. So the point I'm bringing that the Caribbean together, CARICOM together, can sustain itself.
But that brings a big question mark, because it seems to me, someone will have to prove me wrong, but it seems to me, of those that you call who have oil or some other thing like Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and Barbados, and Guyana, they seem to be the ones, well, we're not too sure about Barbados because we know we have Mayor Motley. Okay, but Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and Jamaica, it seems to me that they are not, they are leaning towards the United States. They are acquiescing towards what the United States want. And I've been looking at that and thinking, here we go again. It reminds me of the LDCs and MDCs, where the bigger countries feel because we have this. Remember, that's what they did, you know. One of their leaders says, oil don't spoil. You understand? So are we heading down that road again where because you have oil and the magnet out there is pulling you towards them and you feel that is the only way you're going to get your oil sold and refined and whatnot, so you feel you have to succumb to them.
You become that target, technically.
Yeah.
But the point I was getting at with the leader from Trinidad and Tobago is that the negative tone towards CARICOM, sometimes you really have to ask the question, like, is CARICOM doing anything, really? You know, anything that is substantial?
I agree.
You understand?
I agree.
So that's why I say, like, something you have to listen, even though you disagree. And I disagree with
Yes.
you know, most of what she said.
Yeah.
But when it comes, what she feel as a person, this is not even a matter of disagreeing what's not. This is how she feel.
Yes.
And she expressed how she feel. And CARICOM, in my opinion, need to kind of check itself, you know?
I agree.
And to see, is there any true benefit in even being a member of CARICOM?
Yeah.
If there's nothing being done, nothing, and when I say nothing being done, I'm not talking about some of those simple things that you hear about, but I'm talking about the fact that we now stand as nations,
Yeah. Unified.
islands, countries, you know, united,
Yes.
and or do we just
Fragment.
roll over because America, England just blow on you?
That's a
and-
good
and
point.
you just roll over and,
That's
and
a
take
good
it.
point. I've likened CARICOM to the United Nations. To me, they are just presentation of bodies that are of no real value. But let's see what will happen, because I think both the United Nations and CARICOM are on the verge of either moving forward positively or just fragmenting. I'm going to take a bit of a commercial break, and we'll be back.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind.
You're always safe with us.
This Christmas, add postpaid for a festive win-win. We're gifting you a 50-inch smart TV or a $400 Amazon gift card. When you add a Flow postpaid mobile plan to your home internet, you can celebrate the most wonderful time of the year with a big screen or big shopping. Let us upsize your TV or clear your Amazon cart. Either way, you come out on top. Add postpaid to internet today for your festive win-win. Visit discoverflow.co for more info. Terms and conditions apply.
And we are back. The time 7 minutes moving away from the 11 o'clock hour, and right back to you, Mr. Agard. When at that break, I said that kind of going along with what you were saying in terms of CARICOM and what it represents. I feel that the fact that they're going to be having a meeting here quite soon, I think coming out of that meeting, we are going to know where and whether CARICOM survives or it just...
Yeah, well, you know, remember, the conversation started earlier is not just about SYNC, it's actually about these same 15 countries and more, where the mindset is similar because the imperial powers, you know, were kind of ruling over them all anyway. Now, some have kind of stepped up to become republics and sever ties to some degree, and some still want to be the colonial puppy and continue to just, you know, pull by the strings and just do what the puppeteer want.
Yes.
So the whole idea is that we have these countries that have
We're different.
That have resources that you know, the Caribbean can use if they come together.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when we talk about brain drain, the last time I was here, we're exporting our excellence, exporting our best. Sometimes, if we had all these people who got to study and get their degree, and degree was not, because you realize what degree have become. It's like a belt. It's a title belt to say, you won, you have this degree, but have done nothing with it in order to help to develop your country. And that is what a degree is supposed to be for. Supposed to come and teach stuff and get stuff done and what's not. But instead, we're wearing it around with neck or a belt and boasting that we have a degree.
You're speaking figuratively, or because but I agree with you. Hello, caller.
Hi, Quint. I was compelled to come back in. You touched, Quint, Agard, you touched on something there, because our greatest import rather, is tourism, foreign exchange earner. And I love the fact that I am not just a taxi driver, I am a tour guide, but a special one at that. So, two things. First of all, when I have my guests, because I'm so innate and so in depth with my knowledge, who I am, like the old mantra of the committed thing, man, know thyself.
Yes.
I think I have come to a stage where I know myself to have a conversation,
and
a mature conversation.
Let me interject here, Africa, and say I commended Agard this morning on the way he thinks. And you were also in the back of my mind, because you're another one who thinks out of the box. And you're another one who is not afraid to say how he sees things. I think that we as a people are very few and far between, and here's hoping that perhaps we can encourage others to think likewise. Go ahead.
And Agard, he laid a foundation for a robust conversation of this nature today, because it is so needed. So when it comes to my guests, I lay a foundation with my guests. I want to draw two things to your attention this morning and to the wider listening public. We in the Caribbean, we love our culture, we love our cuisines, we love our food and music and frolic, a part of who we are. We have molded that over the years. Now, Agard and Quint and the listening public, our national dish entails a few things, including a fish, right?
Yeah.
But did our local fishermen went out and caught the fish that we are so accustomed to, the fish that we have gotten proteins from in around here?
Yeah.
No. According to what we know, the fish that is on our national dish is a codfish.
Codfish.
Yes, what we call saltfish.
Yeah.
But it's not caught around here.
But you see, Africa, that again fit into why this discussion that Agard brought to the fore. All of that is part of the metropole tug,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
go ahead.
Because here we know. We're going to go into the English Channel or into the Nordic regions, the English Channel. Bearing in mind, Britain was our former one of France and England, the British, was our former colonists. They colonized these islands. 1623, Sir Thomas Warner, and 1624, the French in Bastille. Okay. Why did our people who sat down and decided we're going to come up with a national dish, knowing that we are bordered with the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean, and have not chosen a fish that is being caught around here to put it on our plate for us to say, well, we are proud of our national dish? Why a codfish from the English Channel? You see the psychology and the way how our minds was being colonized?
Yeah.
I am advocating for that fish to be removed from our dish and replaced with a fish. If you're going to put a fish, catch a fish from around our waters and put it on our dish. It will be more palatable. It will make more sense.
I agree.
To have a fish from around here, just like how Barbados probably promote the flying fish.
Yeah,
a fish that is caught in the water.
But do you see that happening easily? I mean, remember our leaders are setting in their ways.
This is a conversation I keep with my guests.
Yes.
And my guests, they are from all over the world, and they agree with me.
Yeah.
They agree with me because all of the other things that we have on our fish, on our dish, is grown here. Be subjected just to the Caribbean alone.
Africa, do you know that every year in certain places up there in England, they have what they call a codfish celebration where they do the codfish in various different things. I've seen ceremonies with them. They do it in stew it, boil it, do all kind of stuff with it. Are you aware of that?
No, but they should be proud of it because it's caught in their waters there.
Yeah,
I am saying.
I said
a
that.
Fish that is caught in our waters should be on our dish here.
I agree. I said that because if we are saying this is our national dish, how come, as you stated before, our colonizers are celebrating the very same fish?
Yes, and it's caught in their waters. But we imported it here, and we did not see fit to say, well, this is such an imported thing. Not only that, it was imported from, the semblance of even having something in the domain of the colonizers. We have choices here where there are other sturgeon fish, other fish that are around here we can catch and have as our national dish.
And remember when it was imported, it was imported because it was cheap. And if you listen to Sir Hilary Beckles, and he spoke about why a lot of us, have diabetes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating. You understand? You
understand?
You understand?
And it's like, this is a debate we have so that we can we visit our national dish and exempt that fish, take it off. A second thing, 3 days ago, I think it was Friday, I was dispensed a tour on the port, and it was a couple, and the gentleman said he is Warner, and he wants to go down to Middle Island because Sir Thomas Warner, who landed in 1623, is buried there, and it's his ancestry.
Okay.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yes.
So while going there, Quint, we had a conversation, and I told him, well, yes, it's good. Quint, you remember I told you the other day that our people cannot afford not having a visa because they go to America, and some of the places they visit, like Mount Rushmore, they visit the Washington Monument.
Yeah.
You see, they go and they visit these places, but they are paying homage to someone else's ancestor, yet they don't want to go to the gravesite to say, well, okay, here's my dad's birthday, my father, my mom's birthday. Mind you, honor your mother and your father. It is a lifelong honor and paying homage to them as long as you, the individual, still alive,
Yeah.
When you physically depart, your children and grandchildren will do likewise to you.
Yeah.
Just in the same way that the gentleman, Mr. Warner, traveled from all the way England, came on a cruise ship and wants to pay homage to his ancestry by visiting the gravesite.
But you know why he would do that, Africa? Because he followed his history. Our history isn't taught in the schools.
That's what we were talking about.
Where is our history? We prefer, you would quicker hear our people say, man, that is the past, man. I live in good now. I ain't no slave. That's what we say.
But do you think, though, that this is a psychological escape for some people, that the pressures or the burden of thinking about our ancestors and so on is too burdensome for some people to process?
I would kind of agree, but why should it be a burden? I think it is only a burden when you're ashamed of yourself and shamed of your
But some
color
of them
and
are.
that kind of
Look at the amount of people who bleach this.
that's what I'm saying. I'm
Look at the
saying.
hair. Look at the lot of weaves and
That's what
wig
I'm
that our
saying.
sisters them wearing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That to me, if you go in your mirror and you're not pleased with how you look, so you put on something to cover your hair, and then you scrape off your eyebrow and paint on piece.
Look, I said it.
And the men, I'm not leaving out the men. The men who go to the store and buy some dye because they don't want the beard to look grey. I mean, so
well, I do some dyeing of my beard. I'm guilty of that, and the reason I do that is because I was letting them grow, and then my children would say, "But daddy, you know, daddy, no man, you know, dye your beard." And I said, "No, I want," and they said, "No," and they hugged me so much that I started to, you know. But now and again, you see the gray still coming through.
The gray have a commanding kind of energy. You know?
I agree, but here's this point. What I'm going to use this as a kind of cop out on my behalf. Okay, is that it's still my hair. Okay,
it's still your hair.
It's still my hair.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's like our people are not. You're right. Some of them they are ashamed of who they are.
Yeah.
So and why is that so? Because we have not used the education system to bring that national identity alive in us.
Yes.
And therefore, because of that, there's this big gap.
Yeah.
And so whenever you talk about history, whenever you talk about slavery, they become a little kind of a strange behavior occur.
I agree. Africa, what do you think about that?
Well, yeah, because eventually, you know, the inevitable, your gray, your beard's becoming gray or your hair becoming gray is a process. I am 65, but I am not graying that fast. I only use coconut oil. I use coconut oil on my skin and in my hair. And that's all I use. I don't use Vaseline and stuff because it's like, you know, the oil base of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, because it percolates, it penetrates the pores.
It does. I don't, funny, you know, I don't use any kind of oils. I just...
But the focus is not what you use it. Yeah. The focus is when you look in that mirror, are you pleased with what you see?
Yeah. Well, I'm pleased with what I see.
Okay, that's the focus because a lot of our women are not pleased.
And back to the point, I think some of them are pleased because it goes back to the psychology that you spoke about. Yeah. But here's this, back to your point, Agard, and this is why a lot of our women are going to not like what we say sometimes. But I have a problem with my beautiful black queens not letting us see their natural hair. I see women on a daily basis and we don't know what their natural hair looks like.
Yeah, but you see, Quinn, you're explaining a situation that has resulted from last conversation that I was here. We talk about the colonial mindset, right? The education system didn't fill that gap. The religious system didn't fill that gap. So
and I put emphasis on the religious system because that is why when Greg speaks like this morning, I was trying to tell him, and he doesn't get it. He keeps going adamantly, stubbornly down this. I'm trying to tell him, Greg, put the Bible in a perspective where the people can relate to it and apply it to their life and living. But he doesn't get that. All he wants to do is come and preach the word exactly as it is, and nobody really gets it. It's not more churches we're seeing, and yet still we're seeing more crime, more everything negative.
And we spoke about that last time. Yeah. No, there's what you call spiritual ego.
Yeah.
And a lot of our men somehow suffer from that.
Yeah.
Because, we see a lot of that. But don't want to get into that. But
But Agard.
Yes.
Agard.
Yes, Africa?
Yeah, but inspiration is a universal thing.
Yes, agreed.
And we are inspired by our forebearers, those who are not here physically. I could vividly remember things that my father told me. In fact, my father taught me to swim.
Okay.
You know, put me in my overhand. And these things are like, recollection is an everyday phenomenon. I could actually see them. I saw the man came to me in a gym, and it's like, I was stubborn, and I got burned. So I realized that beyond the physical departure of you know, our loved ones, they are still here with us. And that is one of the benefits, right? The man traveled all the way to England to go by his mortal remain. Do you know that they used to have whole head kings in jars in Europe, in Belgium, in Europe?
Yeah.
One of them was repatriated just recently, 2013. Jars. Why would you have the king, the head of the cranial of a beheaded person in a jar?
That's the next topic. That's the next topic right there. That's the next topic right there. But you see, what I personally was trying to zoom in on today is that one, we have our politicians in the Caribbean who are suffering that colonial mental disorder. We have our children who we are feeding to those imperial powers.
Yes.
We are exporting our excellence and importing food and other things. So the maths don't add up.
It doesn't.
So the fact that we now in this position where we now seem to don't know what to do when it comes to the US talking to us and these imperial powers and so on, show that we have reached here because of a specific reason. So the question is, do we continue down that road? Are we going to learn from these mistakes? Are we going to subject our next generation to this type of mistake? I calling it a mistake. Somebody might call it something else. But the fact that we now have the education system and the banking system in love or in a marriage, where you take a loan, send your child off to the US to study or some other imperial place, and then mind you, and there's some places in the Caribbean they can go, and some of them do actually. But the whole idea is that the psychological outwardness that we always feel like we have to go to these metropole is something that we need to get rid of. And I think it starts from the school system. I think we also need to hold accountable the religious institutions to see that if they are functioning in the capacity that they claim, because if the government have no control or don't have the arm to deal with the spirituality of the people, then these so-called synagogues, churches, whatever they call themselves, who are claiming to be that gap filler, but yet we are seeing more violence, we are seeing more immorality than morality.
I agree.
So then we need to have the conversations, and the government do have an arm which they call the ecclesiastical department of things.
Exactly.
That
I
connect.
was just about to allude to that.
So we need to have these conversations. So Africa, I don't mind teaming up with you and a few others to farm up something, and we have some of these conversations with these ministries to see where we at, because at the end of the day, we are taxpayers. The fact that you say you're a taxi driver, you're a taxpayer, I'm a taxpayer, Quint is a taxpayer. We are the CEO of the country. Now, they pay a lot of attention to those who vote and not realize that a voter sometimes don't even pay no tax. So if we're paying your salaries, then, and we have issues, then we need to have conversation. I don't mind some people say, oh, well, if you don't vote, you don't have no say. That's just one of the strangest things to say. Because once you're a taxpayer, you have a say. You're money building roads, paying salaries, and all these different things. So we need to have some of these conversations with the ecclesiastical affair, ministry. We need to talk more. This morning I heard some conversation there with the farmers, where I don't even know why we're still at that point. And there's claims that I'm seeing all kind of clips and write-ups that we're doing so good in agriculture, yet our import bill is pretty much the same. Yet, in terms of even eating healthy, still challenging. Some people think it's expensive to eat healthy. I really don't think so. The fact that you could get a seed and plant it in your back of your yard and grow what you eat, I don't see what is expensive about that. Sometimes it depends on what you choose to eat. That becomes expensive.
You know what? I'm going to take a commercial break momentarily, Africa. So I'm going to allow you to make a point before I take that break. Go ahead.
Hey, God, I see where you're coming from. I have mentioned it before, where the ecclesiastical office needs to serve all, because apart from the 5 or 6 recognized, quote unquote, some of it is umbrella under what you call the Abrahamic religion, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. You have Hinduism and others, right? The ecclesiastical office serves a wider body, which they tend to not recognize the African spiritual way of life, and all of that should be included so that practitioners should able to do, you know what I mean, what they see and knew. So I welcome what you're saying. I have mentioned that before, and the time would come when we will have a conversation with that minister, you know, because in the books of the colonialists, they does not recognize us, few individuals who has not really formed a body. Yes, the Rastafarians are there, but apart from that, it goes to other spiritual practices, in like Yoruba and Akan and Nkisi and all of them there. We came from those areas, we came from those nations, and it is innate to us. We were born with those spirits.
Yeah, of course. I agree with you, Africa. The thing is, though, I'm glad that you mentioned the Rastafarian community, because to me, the politicians constantly use the Rastafarian community to maybe rack up support and what's not. Yeah. But then when you look at the whole situation, even if what you're saying there, we get more conversations going on with that. We already see how Rastafarians have been sidelined in every aspect. I mean, we have a new government. Have you heard any Rastafarian being a junior minister? Any PS? I'm not talking about some of these guys who maybe have locks on their head, I'm talking about people who actually practice the Rastafarian lifestyle, go to gather in, and have the conversation on what's not. And right now, the cannabis story, remember one leader said the cannabis will not see the light of day under his watch. Next thing you know, he on the cannabis board. So, and no Rasta is the CEO on the board. We keep hearing there's a new CEO, there's a new chair. Have you heard any Rasta leading it? No, at no point. Even though all of this had to do with Rasta. But so then the Rastafarian community need to really stand up a little stronger and stop being used by the politicians.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I won't call any names, but there are a few Rastas who I feel lean too heavily towards their love for a particular politician to the detriment of the movement. Yes. Okay? Africa, I'm going to take that break right about now.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Come, build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers. We don't just sell materials, we help you build your dreams. Whether it's a new home, a renovation, or a DIY project, we're here to make it happen. That's why we say, build with us. From foundation to finish, come to our stores where we have the best in building materials, hardware, tools, paints, expert advice, and more. Whatever you need, you can count on us. So if you're ready to get started, build with us. With Hostels Building and Nevis Centers, you're not just building a structure, you're building a future. Let us help you create something amazing. Dream with us, plan with us, grow with us, build with us. Come build with us at Hostels Building and Nevis Centers today. Build with us at Hostels.
What are you doing? She said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, she said, drink a root boy, I will do the work. You don't have to wind up yourself. You don't have to wind up yourself. Oh, cause when we out and we active living we life. So when we drink, we drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we drinking. Root boy. Oh, Miss Lady, anyway you see we are we building up our vibes. So when we drink, we drinking. Root boy. So when we drink, we drinking. Root boy. Why?
And we are back. Back with you, the time 11:33, and in relation to our discussion so far, I said, and I'll reiterate, the fact that we're going to be having a meeting of the heads of the Caribbean here on our shores. I don't put so much emphasis that it's here. I'm putting emphasis on the fact that it's going to be a number of leaders from the region who's going to come together. And I've said before, and I'll reiterate, what they say after this meeting is going to determine how serious our leadership and whether, as you have asked the question, we've learned from COVID and other things beyond that as to how we go forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's quite clear that we had the experience, but did we learn anything?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure because, and even if we did, we're not putting what we learn in practice.
Yeah.
Because technically we probably learn, but just like getting a degree, a person go out there and get a degree, come back here, does nothing with it.
Hold a while. Hello, caller.
Good day to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, blessed greetings, Greg.
Greetings once more in the name of Jesus Christ. Yes, greetings to you, Agard. Greetings to you, Quint.
Yeah.
Yes. Quint, there's something I would like to reply to what you have said. And I'll try to make it short as possible. In the Bible, okay, Quint, when the prophets went to tell the people and the authorities the word of God, the authorities and the people, they killed the prophets, they imprisoned them, they did all manner of wickedness and evilness to them because the people and the authorities did not see the word of God as the only solution and answer to all of life, including to their lives, for them to solve their problems and that sort of stuff. They did not see it, so they killed the prophets, the people, and the authorities. So that is what I really want to say. And these churches, Quint, are not serious with the word of God. And so when we said earlier, me now go church, well, tell me of a church that is serious with the word of God, and I would consider attending it. Up to now, me in sin and in saying it. Okay? But because, and when the word of say, when the word of God talk about don't forget the gathering yourself, it was talking about churches that are serious with the word of God, not those that are playing games with the word of God. And all I'm seeing right now are churches that are playing games with the word of God. But like I said, when the prophets came and told the people the message of the word of God, the people hated them, killed them, imprisoned them, and did all sorts of stuff because they did not want to hear the Bible and they did not see the Bible as the only answer and solution for all of life, including for all of their lives, and the solution to the problems that they were in at the moment. Anyhow, Quint, anyhow, hey, God, take care. God bless you all.
Yeah, man, blessed greetings.
Yeah. You see, he proves my point again. He never applies it to, you see all the discussions we had, and jumping from topic to topic, and he comes and he just sticks on a particular, and that is what we're going to hear the next time, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time.
I'm okay with that, I'll tell you why.
No, I'm not okay with it, though.
These voices that you could say remind us or somehow speak to something that we were once connected to, or maybe still connected to, sometimes could cause you to pause and reflect on certain things. Maybe the approach is not the best, maybe even the things said.
I hear what you're saying. I agree with you from that perspective, yeah. I agree with you.
Right, so, and that's why I would welcome these things, because sometimes it make you actually pause for a moment.
I've said it to him. I've said it, and I said it this morning when someone told me to ban him. I said, no, I allow him to speak because it makes people listen and then ask themselves, is this where I want to be heading steadfastly down there? Yeah. So I hear you.
Because we briefly spoke about the ecclesiastical arm in government and its connection with the synagogues, the churches, and what's not, and so on.
Yeah.
We clearly, and I wish someone could even try to debate me on this one. Mm-hmm. The churches, some of them go out and witness to people. You know, they're telling you about stuff. Most time you can't witness back to them.
That's
but
true.
They witness to you.
That's
you
true.
can't witness to them.
Yeah.
I find that bullying. You know,
I agree.
Right?
Hello, caller.
Yes, good. Good day again. One thing about the metapole magnet is that it seems to stifle innovation.
Yes, it does.
Our territories, right? It's like the only good thing that can come got to be from up north, right? And one of the things that fed into that is the fact that for a long time we kept saying that all we are, that our people, the only resource that we have essentially is our people.
And we're exporting
that. Is not, in fact, true, right? We happen to live on an island in an archipelago, right, that connects North and South America. And we have the whole ocean that has been described as one of the last frontiers to explore. And I don't think we think in terms of that much. When in fact, for instance, you would think by now, bearing in mind that we have such a vibrant cruise industry in the area between the islands, that we would have had a cruise line for the Caribbean. There's no reason why that couldn't happen. And you know, this thing with Cuba, if in fact the United States go after changing Cuba and they're successful, you can bet your life that our tourism is going to suffer, at least for in the short term, because you're going to have an explosion of people from the north wanting to go to Cuba now that there are no restrictions whatsoever. Okay, and the product would probably be cheaper and so on as well, right? And I don't think we're preparing for that. But I'm saying that there's no reason why, just like how at least in the hotel sector, they had Butch Stewart, the sandals and Beaches brands, I think.
Yeah.
They developed those. We should have been able to do the same thing in the cruise sector, right? And we're not doing it. And one of the trappings, I think, is that, for one, when you have the cultural penetration is such that, you know, we're going to import, and you mentioned this before, braids and so on, and what that does is create a dependency because we don't make them here, we don't produce them here, and in addition to that, we have a whole industry down here, you can say, that involves, you know, the preparation, styling, and that kind of thing, which, you know, we don't want to go away either. So there's almost like a dependence on these things from overseas, and so although it's all well and good to say that, well, there are things.
Mr. McMahon, have you ever researched the kind of money that just weaves alone make?
No, I haven't.
It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Multi-billion dollar thing. And here's this. Look at Agard. He has a tam on his head. But by the extent of the tam, you can see that his hair is very long. Look at me. I don't cover my hair. I never did, you know. And they're past my waistline going down. And I'm a man. We're men. No, women might not want to wear locks. But do you know that women can also use products to keep their hair? They complain about the nappiness, which I don't have a problem with, but they complain about that. But do you know that there are products that can soften the black woman's hair to the extent that she can comb them out rather easily, and she can put them in all those braids and all those kind of stuff as they get longer, because we know that once you keep your hair plait and then you lose them out to wash them and plait them back again, they go long very fast. So why can't these women do that? Why is it that they're so much proud of having false hair than their own? Their own hair can be as long as those and longer.
But Quinn,
But,
remember,
but that's a good question for them. Have you ever asked them that question?
But they won't even, they're like the Christian. You can't have a conversation with them about that. From the time you say, they say, it's my life, I do what I want. And we're trying to say as men, look, we love you, but why don't you love yourself? How do you expect us to love you completely when you don't love what the Creator made you with?
Quinn, that is not so all the way true. You know, some men, you remember this Rat Race song about Miley singing?
Yes.
Some men would actually tell these women how beautiful they look in these things.
But they do look beautiful.
They look beautiful without these things too.
Beautiful as well.
Yes, that's what we're saying. but to Agard's point, yes, but are they really men? That's the question. I mean, it might sound like a weird question, but you see, are you a man when you, rather than looking at your woman and saying, babe, you look beautiful, I love you in your braids, but why can't you now and again let me see you in your natural form? I don't mind if, let's say, you're going out, because we as men, we're prepared to compromise, you know, but it's the women who don't want to compromise. I as a man, and I'm sure Agard would be, I don't have a problem if you're going out to a particular thing, you have your hair and you want to, so that for a particular time, put it in a braid or whatever, but not in it. These people are in it all day, every day. You don't see them out in public unless they're that way, and the Creator didn't make them that way. And here's what annoys me, Mr. McMahon and Agard. I see them on the internet, and you see them with their long hair, however the extensions they call them, and see them throwing it back and they're talking, and I'm thinking to myself, damn, you're proud of that more than your natural hair?
I think you're getting too passionate with that.
Well, I'm passionate. I'm always passionate.
I guess you're too passionate with
Mr.
that.
McMahon, you know, Mr. McMahon, you know I'm always get passionate.
Yeah, but Quinn, why couldn't something like that, though, have originated from down here and exported to up there, just like reggae music or any other thing? Why can't what you're describing be exported to up there?
I want you to be more specific.
What I'm saying is this metropole magnet seems to be very one way.
I agree. That's what Agard is saying.
No, but I understand what McMahon is saying. Is that okay? Like for instance, you know, we just keep importing,
yes,
right?
Yes,
and
we don't export.
Outside, what is the standard?
Yeah.
And we see that in all things.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in all things.
Yeah.
You know, why something as simple as what you're just talking about, hairstyling and so on.
Yes.
Why we all have the same, we're all black, have the same texture and so on. Why can't whatever style we decide, whether it's our natural or extensions or whatever, why can't that be exported north instead of looking at the TV or movie or on the social media or magazines or whatever, and then waiting for them to adopt the styling from there?
Because we choose to be consumers and not. It all comes down to market and willing to consume.
Not only that, it goes back to pride again, self-pride.
Yeah.
It goes back to but I disagree with you, Mr. McMahon, when it comes to the extensions. I don't think that we should be pushing the extensions. But in terms of the plaiting and so forth, that comes from our roots, you know. It's just that rather than plaiting the natural hair, softening it enough and plaiting it so that it goes very long, rather than doing that, they cut their natural hair to a certain extent, only long enough so that it can hold the weaves.
Well, the reason why I wouldn't abandon extensions is because it seems to be a fad that has really taken root and doesn't seem to be going anywhere anytime.
So you're saying that because someone, this is where I disagree with you again. So you're saying because something is, let's use the pants down below the bottom. That is a fad also.
That's extreme.
That is.
No, that's extreme.
Yeah, but we got to be consistent, Mr. Mahmoud.
No, but what I'm saying is, you have a lemon, make lemonade, right?
Yeah, but a lemon is a natural fruit.
Good, and so you shouldn't make. So you should make lemonade with it, you're saying?
But I'm saying the extensions are not natural. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But guys, the thing is,
that's debatable, because
yeah, and I think this debate might be overshadowing the point that we're trying to make.
Yeah, I think the thing about innovation is that it uses prior knowledge as well to better stuff, right? And that same principle.
This isn't, Miss Agard. This isn't overshadowing, as it buys right into it, because all of this is the metropole pull.
To go into details, because what McMahon is talking about innovation.
All of it is the metropole pull.
Innovation actually comes a part of society evolution, and mankind evolved through intelligence to intellect to knowledge. And therefore, what McMahon is saying is like, why we don't, do things and export those things.
I agree.
Create trends and let those trends.
And I've agreed.
Even if they started up north.
Where I disagree, Mr. McMahon, wait, Mr. McMahon, I agree with, but where I disagree with Mr. McMahon, again, I will reiterate, where I disagree with Mr. McMahon is we have many things that we can export, but why export something that is not natural? That is what I'm saying.
Because there's a market for it.
But is there a market for it, though?
That's the question.
There is a big market for it. No, that's what I'm saying. What we're railing against is the fact that everything comes from north down south. Why not south-north? Why, just because, for instance, electric vehicles might have been originated, in the more developed countries and so on, right? The fact is, we down here have it's best applied to countries like ours, short distances.
We agree.
Those kinds of things. We have the sun for energy much more than up this. So because they
Mr. McMahon, you're blurring the lines. You're blurring the lines. Where I want to go with you, I hear you, but you're blurring the lines. Where, see that example you just made with the cars? Perfect. But what I'm saying, let's go back to the here. Where we have a natural here, right? Why can't you, like I said, I don't mind you go off now and again, you're having a party, a particular, and you put this extravagant, because that is part of our African culture. If you look back, all of these styles we're seeing, we see them back in the historical archive, But what I'm saying, don't let it be your everyday thing. That is what I have a problem with.
I think we're taking up too much time in this. I think we need to go back
I would say that's their choice. And I think we can embrace both styles, both the natural and the artificial. And my point is, if you, even though you might have invented or innovated, made some innovation in a particular aspect, there's no reason why, if there's a market for it, you can capitalize on that.
Okay, let's go back to Mr. Agard so that he can bring it back on point.
Yeah, I think we spend a lot of time in a topic that we
but we're going to, Agard, we're going to always run off on tangents, right? So
but it isn't a tangent.
Yeah.
I don't call.
No, to have a detailed discussion on women here, I think we really step out.
No, I disagree.
I think we step out the box a little bit because
this is not
the women are not. We're talking. We're here in the studio, McMahon calling, and we're all men.
Mm-hmm.
Not one woman is on the line with conversating with us.
I
So that's
hear
what I'm
you.
saying.
That's true.
This is not a
It'll be nice to
a
hear the
balanced
perspective of
conversation.
But it's not detailed either, God.
It sounded detailed to me.
It can't be. It cannot be detailed unless we have the other perspective. We're just giving our perspective.
Right, but the thing is, I understand Mahan what he was bringing to the conversation about innovation, and I know innovation is actually a part of our evolving society.
Yes.
And as human beings, as we dub it, this is it. This is how we evolve through knowledge, and knowledge foster
and remember too,
innovation.
we've come a long way from the time. Remember, Quinn, when what they used to call it, used to do the hairdos to look like white women.
Iron your hair. Yeah.
I really try to come off this here thing.
We come a long way from that.
We tend to follow. We tend to follow where and But I hear you.
Yeah, because.
But it seems as if though Agard is kind of concerned that we might ruffle the women's feathers.
Yeah, well, no,
I
think
don't
it's just
mind.
not
I don't
balanced.
mind.
I think it's unfair. Are we here talking about that and the women are not here?
I don't
They
mind.
can do what they want anyway.
That reminds
That's
me
what
of
I'm
the-
saying. I don't mind ruffling their feathers because they can ruffle mine.
Let me plug this now. That hopefully on the next show I'll try to get someone here to reason from. Remember the last time we were here?
Yeah.
We talk about menopause and perimenopause.
Yes.
So hopefully on the next program we will have someone here to
Yeah.
shed some light on that. And who knows? Maybe the person might want to shed some light on the hairdo as well.
And
But-
when Mr. McMahon, when he brought up that discussion, I told him emphatically I disagreed with him. But then, even before the discussion was done, I always think things in my mind, and I saw some merit in it. So we are going to be looking forward to having that discussion with a
Yes.
female, from a female discussion.
Yeah.
And this is why I don't have a problem with ruffling the women's feathers either, because when I ruffle their feathers, perhaps some of them will be strong enough to come here and bring a counter argument. You
Yeah.
understand?
We will have some here shortly. I just think that once a month might not be sufficient. If this could step up to maybe twice a month, and we could have these guests come in here, we have these discussion.
Well, as long as you can get the guests and we.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
That would be good because generally speaking, you don't find many women in these kinds of discussions. For whatever
Exactly.
reason.
So we need to get some in here.
Yeah.
So
And the one that he's speaking about, we definitely need a woman's perspective on that.
yes, definitely.
Because just the name premenopause, how do you term it?
Perimenopause.
Perimenopausal.
Yeah.
That will ruffle a lot of women. So here is it, Mr. McMahon. He's talking about me ruffling women's feathers, and he's ruffling their feathers.
But was he doing it from a medical point of view?
Yes, he is.
Right. Well,
Social,
from a medical point of view, that
social,
means
medical. Yes.
Right. It means it's scientific as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they'll be able to appreciate it.
So we need to have like a nurse or a doctor in here to reason some of
Yeah,
that.
I
Because while I might be able to do some research, I'm not qualified medicinal practitioner to have that type
expound
of
on
conversation.
it, to go in detail.
To go in no great detail or anything.
Was he using? I didn't hear the pro. Was he using it to explain?
Well, let him explain it to you in a nutshell.
Well, we'll go into that when we get here on the program. But we don't have to go into that now. When I get the person here.
I just figured if you're trying to psychoanalyze women, good
No,
luck.
that wasn't the point at all. We were talking about some issues in society, and we was kind of blending a little bit into how
it
how
affects
structures
the
are set up
working environment
and
and
how
that kind of stuff.
the kind of off balance between men and women fit into some of these departments that government has.
Okay.
And
I
again,
hope you won't put in all the blame on women.
No, definitely not.
Oh, okay.
and again, Mr. McMahon and Agard, these kind of discussions, it's good to have them. They're not the normal everyday discussions, and so yes, they may kind of lean towards ruffling some feathers, but then it opens up the conversation, and that's what we want.
Yes, and let's have the conversations. That's
Yeah.
why I say once a month is not enough. So
I'd probably sit that one out in the sense that I'd probably just listen and learn because
I think I too will listen a lot. I might ask a question, but only to get it from the female perspective because
right. I listen to the expert.
we will have to do that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so yes, meaningful reasoning. I see we just have like 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
So, we started out with the metropole magnet conversation, and while that didn't steady course the way I would have liked it to, I just want ones to remember that we are now in some situations that I've been in before, at least not in this part of my lifetime. And decisions are being made, and the decisions now carry a lot of debate. Maybe the government should have said this, the government should have said that. It is really something else in the sense that you elect people to position to do things for you because you can't really do it for yourself. And then we don't have some of these discussions before we make decision that's going to affect us all. And that is unfortunate, but at the same time, these decisions are made and we need to talk about them, and whenever it comes to the table where the politicians are now having discussions with us, we should put aside party politics and start looking at how things going to affect us going forward, and not just us who standing now, but even those who in the belly coming.
Yeah.
Because we have to, set a good path for
don't,
them. Because
don't you think that's the main objective, that we want to get those in the belly?
Exactly.
Coming? Yeah.
So, and those in the belly, we have to, my generation, Quint, and maybe those before us didn't really set a good path for us.
Yeah, you're right.
We're in a situation where
we sort of learn by trial and error.
This thought that we had about even looking in the mirror and don't like what we see.
Yeah.
We look at governments that, democracy only exists when it's voting time.
Yes.
After that is dictatorship.
Yeah.
We look at the fact that we're exporting our excellence, and importing food and other people and what's not. And while the conversation was good about the Cubans and maybe potentially giving them citizenship, or residency, whichever one makes it better for them, to have them in our hospitals and helping us and what's not. While that is good, I still think that is good in itself, but what can be better is that we get our own.
Yeah.
We get our own, work on our own now. Let the education system produce critical thinkers. Let us start to make sure we support our doctors to go out there and get those specialized degrees, and not these lot of general practitioners. So let me produce what we need for our country.
I like that emphasis about
we need engineers. Quint, you're an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be a part of helping develop this country in that area.
But I've had done my part.
Okay.
I'm retired now. But, but as you made that point, there's a call I'm going to let squeeze in before.
Okay.
Look, I remember when I got my first degree, right? We were speaking about degrees and degrees not doing anything. When I had my first degree, I couldn't get a job, because back them times, not much individuals had degrees. And I remember going as a young man, and they say, "What is your qualification?" I send in my curriculum vitae, whatever. While they're sitting down the interview, and then they say, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I sent them that I have a degree, blah, blah, blah. But then they ask, and then you actually put the physical degree in front of them, right? And every time you put that physical degree in front of them, you weren't going to get the job, because they said things like, "No, don't you think you're overqualified for this job?" And here's me as a young man, all I want is a work. You understand? And I remember I went home to my mother at one time and I said, "Look, I believe I'm going to tear up this degree, because they ain't doing you understand what I'm saying? It's not doing anything for me."
But what do you think caused that, though? The person who could have given you that job?
Not just one, almost all the jobs.
Okay, so let me talk to the mindset then.
Yeah.
That mindset that would have refused you then, what do you think is the underlying?
Because they felt that, because number one, they weren't accustomed to seeing a degree of that level, and then number two, they felt pay scale. I'm not going to be able to pay him. And all I was thinking is, man, forget the
degree.
But you just
want a job.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's no pay scale here.
But they don't see
you
that.
Want a job.
They look at your qualification. Hello, caller.
Yes, Quint is me again. So let me be quick. I do get in specific, Quint. I do get in specifics. For example, when I mention things like the Bible is our true constitutional law of the land instead of the man-made document, when I do mention things like free market capitalism, voluntary taxation, putting up men to be leaders who meet the biblical qualifications, we need to stand up, and so on and so on. When I mention these things, these are getting into the specifics. But it's just that people don't agree with what I said. But they do get into the specifics of the situation. So it ain't really wholly true that I don't mention the specifics. I do.
Greg, I think, Greg, let me just
talk about the answer.
Greg, let me just say something here. I think one of the things that Quint is trying to get at with maybe when you call in, I didn't hear you calling, but I've heard you calling on certain programs. One of the things that you somehow seem to be missing is that we do not have a theocratic government, number one.
Well, we do.
No, hold on. I'll just say two little things and then you could respond. We do not have a theocratic government, number one. Number two, the fact that we have all these denominations that call themselves churches and whatnot, that go against the whole principle of the biblical context. Number three, the things that the Bible said that should follow, the followers of the Bible, are not met. They're not met by anyone I know in St. Kitts and no one in the Caribbean, which means that we are off, totally off.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you come in with saying things that, one, we are not governed by that. Two, we are not practicing that. Matter of fact, the whole Christian community are so unlike Christ.
Yeah.
So what is the use you're saying these things and there's no one? The whole idea that we have 70-something +% people take a vaccine for flu, and the Christian community supported that. The same community that go and pray for people with cancer, pray for people with heart disease, even trying to raise the dead. Somehow,
who say depend on God
at that moment, the same person in the Bible who they call Jesus Christ were not able to help them with a flu. A flu that did not take the lives anywhere comparable to NCDs. Do you know that at least close to 800,000 people globally die every year from suicide? You're not hearing no conversation about that. Heart issues is the number one killer of people in the world globally. And when you put it all together, we're talking about 40 million people annually. The COVID it's like a small little fraction, maybe 0.00% into that number. Yet the people went to the slaughter, just like how the Bible tells them the time shall come when things gonna happen and you shall be deceived. It's right there in the Revelation. Yeah. So this quoting of scriptures and so on is like who you speaking to?
Okay, hey God.
Yeah.
Yes, let me say it quickly because time is short. Time is short. Number one, okay. When all governments are theocratic because all governments have the source of moralities, the do's and the don'ts that they base their laws on, the man-made laws on. So all governments are theocratic because that source of your morality is your God. Number two, that's why I say over and again, these churches are not serious. They're playing games with, but that's why I don't visit them.
But you're also doing the same too.
No, they're not saying, because I am saying the Bible.
You see, Agard, he's saying they're not, but he's trying to impress on us that he's holier than thou, and he knows it.
I'm impressing that the Bible is the answer, not the churches. The Bible is the answer, and yes, we don't do the Bible to our own destruction and undoing, but the Bible is still the answer.
Okay, we've come to the end, though.
And the only answer too. Thank you.
And again, I don't have a problem with him saying it's the only answer, and so it's just that I want him to merge it with real life. That's what I want. Show us how you merge it with us applying it to everyday life, and it benefiting us. And that's what he doesn't do. He just quotes it. So your final words. We're 7 minutes over time.
Well, again, like Greg voiced to talk certain things about the Bible. I think maybe while it's okay to have that pause, I think he could use it a little more effectively if he probably got on the area you're speaking about.
Yeah.
And being specific in your own mind is one thing.
Yes, that's
because if I don't get that you're being specific, obviously, one, you either weren't being specific.
That's it.
Or you didn't impress upon me, enough, using enough context or whatever it is.
I agree.
For me to understand what you're saying.
Yes.
To be specific.
That's it.
So, Greg, you're listening, so you got to do a better job at doing that.
Yeah.
I am also I read Bible. I believe in Bible. I have over 100 different Bibles versions and so on. So I'm into that. I agree with what he's saying. That
but
the
yet,
church is
look
here.
how you can come on a completely different tangents.
Exactly. And I'm not quoting any scriptures.
That's it.
But
That's all
the
we're
whole
saying.
mindset of everything still probably tie back to the concept of that moral structure.
Yeah.
So we all have been there to Sunday schools.
Yeah.
We understand that there's a divine creator and all of that.
Yeah.
But we know clearly that we have not seen the people who are claiming to be the ones who dealing with that actually
living up to that. Yeah.
They don't have the uniform. They're not wearing the uniform by their deeds, their action, their words, and their behavior.
You're
in
right.
any way. Yeah. So I just want to say though that next time I'm here, we're gonna be talking about more of some of the things that we raise, and the idea of the metropole magnet. The idea is that we need to find a way to stop that, and I think it begins in the school. I think we need to have some serious educational reform, because to produce our best and then send them off, and we continually do that and not have our best help us develop, then we're gonna always seem to have this metropole magnet situation among us, because we're not satisfied with ourselves, we're not satisfied with what we have before us. And we have a whole 15 islands, well, maybe more than 15, but I'm talking about CARICOM. We have 15 countries, and we now being at the helm. We can impress upon them. Let's talk more about coming together, trade. So, I mean, not to knock too much about the Black conscious talk about trading with Africa, but why go so far and we're not even trading amongst ourselves
As
in the
Mr.
Caribbean?
Mahan would say, let's begin at home.
Yeah, let's begin at, let's trade in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So saying it was nicknamed Land of Fertile Soil, are we exporting anything?
Yeah.
So I think that we need to have that serious pause and think about what we're doing. And while decisions are being made without any proper consultation with us as a people, as taxpayers and voters, I think that need to stop as well.
Yeah.
We need to have conversations with the people, and if that is a sign of weak leadership, then we need to at least try to get our leadership a little stronger. Maybe it's not about having an election and changing the politician all the time, but maybe we need to come together and have a good conversation with who we have as our leader, to see if we can impress upon them. Look, we're paying your salary.
Yeah. We want you to wrap up though, because we're 11 minutes
This
over.
is what you want me to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so
remember you're here, and you're gonna, we can always carry on.
Yeah.
Pick up from
this is, you see, this is sort of the tangent that we go off on, So.
But I love when we go off on the tangents. It's good.
But yeah,
it's good.
so I give thanks for the listening community, and we'll do this again shortly.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciate the callers, and yeah.
And I appreciate you coming here, because you bring a different perspective that we don't. It's like it catches us off guard to some extent.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on